To our next topic. The topic is proficiency testing tools and analysis. And it's my privilege to welcome our speaker, Dr. Indranil, Chakraborty, professor and head of Department of Biochemistry, Medicine and Sargore Hospital, Kolkata. He has been an award recipient of solutions for his extraordinary contributions towards medical education and medical biochemistry. I request Dr. Indranil. Thank you.
And evaluate your lab's performance in comparison to peer group's performance and uses commercially available materials and evaluation. All analytical laboratories or a small or similar organization should operate a quality assurance system which includes 1. Internal quality control procedures, participation in proficiency testing scheme, use of reference standards, and the 4th, certification or accreditation to a recognized standard, ISO 9001 or ISO 17025, 15889. Of this, only proficiency testing scheme or use of certified reference materials can establish the bias and accuracy of the result. It gives the analyst the confidence that the service will withstand scrutiny. The second, provides independent reassurance to laboratory and the client that procedures, methods, and other laboratory operations are under control. It provides the laboratories with a sound basis of continuous improvement. And proficiency testing is used by the accreditation bodies to assess the ability of laboratories to competently perform the test and calibration. Now, how it is performed? Participating laboratories are provided with uniform testing objects for analysis under specified conditions. Laboratory analysis analyzes the samples, preferably as a part of their normal routine, and reports the result to the scheme organizers. Statistical analysis of the test results are done. And the last one, laboratory receive a report showing how closely their result agree with accepted value, and where necessary, can take action to improve performance. So how the types of the statistical analysis of the proficiency test result? Multiple comparative statistical methods are available to analyze PT results by different PT providers. These depend upon the nature of the test result, whether it is a qualitative or quantitative. For qualitative result, lab result compared with the intended response, and the consensus with majority of the result. In the slide, it has been shown that what is the result of the anti-DNA DS antibody, which is a qualitative test, and the result, intended result response, and the participant laboratory's result has been given here. Whether it is in concordance with the intended response, if it is concordant, then it is good. If it is not concordant or not compatible, it is as performance is poor. For quantitative result, Z score of the standard deviation index or PR mean plus minus standard deviation or PR mean plus minus total error, allowable error calculation is performed. Z score is used to compare the data values measured on different scales. A Z score reflects how many standard deviation above or below the mean a result is. How many standard deviation above or below the mean a result is. And the third one, the Z score is positive if the data lies above the mean, and the negative if the data lie below the mean. And the Z score is calculated that your lab result of the QC sample minus the peer group mean upon the peer group SD. If it is less than 2, plus minus less than equal to 2, your performance is acceptable. If the value of the Z score is within 2 to less than 3, if there is a warning is there, and if it is more than 3, your performance is unacceptable. And now the question is, there are the condition when PT scheme, proficiency testing schemes, and One is the inter-laboratory comparison, split sample analysis with an established in-house method, and third one, intra-departmental or interdepartmental clinical correlation. So what are the limitation of the proficiency test? It addresses only the analytical process, not the pre or post-analytical activities of the laboratory. Proficiency testing results are affected by variables not related to patient testing. The variables are not related to patient. What are the variables then? It includes preparation of the proficiency sample that is received by the laboratory, clerical function, one is uploading the data or entering the data into the data sheet, selection of the statistical method used by the scheme operator in the evaluation of the methods, and the peer group definition. Accordingly, it is not appropriate to use proficiency testing as the sole means for evaluating the quality of a laboratory. Now, from the accreditation perspective, a assessor, what he will do with this report? It is especially useful when an assessor is not able to give a positive judgment on the performance of a testing laboratory based on only on-site assessment. PT schemes are very useful if the following are not completely fulfilled. One, competency of staff appears not sufficient for a specific test. Technical assessor decides that the experience of the laboratory does not meet the requirements of a new test or new test method or new materials. And the third, documentation of in-house procedure seems to be improper or incomplete. What are the tips for better proficiency test result? Monitor PT shipping schedules, notify provider if any delay receiving the samples, open PT shipment as soon as received, check for broken or leaking vials, or if samples are warm or frozen, or if their liquid may be compromised, then consult PP provider and sample need to be replaced. Up-to-date staff on written policies of laboratory as regard to calibration, linearity checks, test method choices, and staff should be trained in the proper handling of PT sample results of reports. Analyzers should be maintained and functioning properly. Follow the manufacturer instruction carefully regards to reconstitution. Correct assay vial should be issued in this regard. Correct diluent and the amount of diluent is very important. If the water is diluted, use reagent grade water. Use calibrated pipette, very important, calibrated pipettes to deliver diluents. Allow sufficient time for the equilibration and use correct equilibration condition. Don't use water baths, shakers, rocker, etc. unless specified in the provider's instruction. For liquid PT samples, allow material to come to room temperature naturally or specified by the provider. Keep calibration and linearity checks current. Recalibrate as necessary. Accuracy and precision should be established. Ensure QC is always current. Check properly, maintaining your system. Avoid waiting to the last minute to analyze a sample. Very important. Clerical errors are common in PT reporting. If possible, get another tech to check the data entry. As PT sample fall outside the stream of normal ELIS data transfer, be especially careful with clerical and transcription function, including reporting correct sample, rounding of the result, units, decimal places, conversion factor, return result to the PT program provider before cutoff time and date. Note time zone difference, very important. Then what are the other limitations? Bodies, all these schemes that have been provided by the PT provider organization. Bodies assessing technical competence of the laboratories normally expect satisfactory participation in PT as evidence of a laboratory's ability to produce reliable test. However, a major distinction exists between evaluation of a laboratory competence by assessment of its total operation and examination of the result of the laboratory participating in PT, because this PT gives only information about technical competence of the testing laboratory at a single point of time under specific conditions of the tests involved in particular proficiency testing scheme, nothing else. Then what are the other benefits from the PT? More than the determination of the accuracy and the bias, or the determination of the total error. Participation may identify potential problems related to imprecision, systemic error, or human error. We can carry out investigations systematically to identify root cause of an unexpected result. Can look for trends over the time. How? Whether all PT samples showing the negative or positive bias. Is there a bias at certain analyte concentration? These events should trigger internal investigation, looking for warning, shifts and trends in the test method. Allow check on reconstitution, expiration, reconstitution stability on the QC, reagents, calibrators, stains and solution. Allows review test method, protocol and the procedure. Ensure instrumentation methodology is current with updated software, revised procedure, updated control range. Do's and don'ts in the proficiency test. Do handle the PT sample in the same manner as patient sample. It should be tested along with the regular patient workload, most important. Tested by personnel who routinely perform analysis. Rotated among the staff who perform the test. Tested the same number of times as routine patient sample. Labile PT samples are tested as soon as possible after the receipt. Proficiency testing data is checked for clerical errors prior to submitting. The PT results are submitted without consultation with other facilities. PT result forms indicate if a similar patient sample would be routinely referred out. All aspects of the PT sample handling, including preparation, examination, testing, and reporting, are to be documented. Don't give PT sample preferential treatment, not analyzed by a special person, not analyzed in replicate if patient sample are not run in replicate, not analyzed on more than one instrument for the purpose of achieving the most acceptable result for submission, which is naturally done many places. Not analyzed on 2 or more separate days. Controls are not analyzed just prior to running the PT samples. Very important. PT samples are not bracketed with the QCs. When PT samples are analyzed, QC is not run more frequently. PT testing is not delayed until the instrument is working better. Results are not discussed compared with other facility before submission. PT sample are sent to another facility for analysis. PT sample are not split for testing at another facility to achieve the most acceptable result for